Early morning sunlight glints off the waves as 7 Philippine ships cut through the South China Sea. Their destination, Bajo de Masinloc, also known as Scarborough Shoal. The air buzzes with tension. News headlines flash across TV screens. Philippines deploys naval armada to defend Bajo de Masinloc. The operation is bold. It is sudden. Crowds gather in Manila, watching live coverage. People hold their breath as cameras zoom in on the gray hulls, Philippine flags snapping in the wind. The government calls this move a peaceful but firm stand. Social media erupts. Hashtags like Chak defend Bajo de Masinloc and Stand with PH trend worldwide. This is about our territory, one headline reads. It's about our future. The world watches closely. Tensions have never been higher. Everyone is asking, what happens next at Bajo de Masinloc? Bajo de Masinloc is a small rocky area in the sea, seemingly unremarkable at first glance. It sits quietly in the vast expanse of the West Philippine Sea, its jagged rocks rising above the waves, exposed to the elements in the endless horizon. This place is also known as Scarborough Shoal, a name familiar to sailors, fishermen, and governments alike. On maps, it appears as a tiny speck, but its significance is far greater than its size suggests. You will not find many trees or towns there. In fact, there's no permanent settlement, no lush greenery, and no buildings, just bare rocks surrounded by the restless sea. Mostly, it is a group of rocks in shallow waters about 220 kilometers from the coast of the Philippines, specifically from the province of Zambales. Its remote location makes it difficult to reach, but that has not stopped people from coming here for centuries. But this place is much more than rocks and reefs. It is a crossroads of history, culture, and conflict where the sea meets the aspirations of nations. For generations, Filipino fishermen have sailed to Bajo de Masinloc in search of a good catch. Their wooden boats bob in the waves as they cast their nets, relying on the bounty of these waters to support their families. The waters here are rich with fish, making it one of the most productive fishing grounds in the region. Tuna, mackerel, and other species thrive in these nutrient-rich currents. For many coastal families, Bajo de Masinloc means food on the table and jobs in the community. The daily catch is not just a livelihood, it is a way of life, passed down from one generation to the next. For the Philippines, this shoal is more than a fishing ground. It is a symbol of national pride and sovereignty, a reminder of the country's connection to the sea and its resources. However, China also claims Bajo de Masinloc, calling it Huangyan Island. Chinese ships regularly patrol the area, asserting their own historical and territorial claims. This overlapping claim has led to years of tension and standoffs at sea, with both countries sending patrols and sometimes even blocking fishermen from accessing the waters. The shoal also sits in a busy shipping lane, a vital artery for international trade. Every year, thousands of cargo ships pass nearby, carrying goods between Asia, the Middle East, and beyond. Control over Bajo de Masinloc means influence over these important trade routes, giving whoever holds it a strategic advantage in the region. That is why the world cares about this small place. It is not just a local issue, it is a matter of international concern, drawing attention from governments, media, and organizations around the globe. The dispute is about more than land or rocks. It is about who has the right to fish, to explore, and to benefit from the sea's resources. In the end, Bajo de Masinloc stands as a symbol of rights, resources, and respect, not just for the Philippines, but for all nations that depend on the sea. The sea is calm now, the gentle glow of sunrise painting the water in soft golds and blues. It's a peaceful scene, almost serene, as if the ocean itself is holding its breath before the day truly begins. But beneath this calm, tension is high on the decks of the Philippine ships. Officers move with purpose, checking their radios and scanning for updates. Every message could bring news that changes everything. Crew members stand at their posts, scanning the endless horizon with binoculars. Their eyes search for any sign of movement, friend or foe, knowing that danger could appear at any moment. Some of these ships are proud vessels of the Philippine Navy, their hulls cutting through the water with quiet determination. The sailors aboard are trained for moments like this, ready to defend their nation's waters. Others belong to the Coast Guard, equally vigilant, their mission just as vital. Together, Navy and Coast Guard form a united front, each crew member aware of the responsibility they carry. All 7 ships move as one, a coordinated force gliding across the sea, Their formation is tight, their purpose clear. Communication flows between vessels, every order and update relayed with precision. The lead ship sends out a signal. All units, hold position, eyes sharp. The command echoes through the fleet. Sailors grip the rails, their bodies tense, every sense alert for what might come next. The mission is clear: protect Bajo de Masinloc, a vital fishing ground, and defend the Philippine fishermen who depend on these waters for their livelihood. The stakes are high, and everyone knows it. The waters they sail can turn dangerous quickly. One moment, the sea is calm. The next, dark clouds gather and waves rise, threatening to swallow even the largest ship. The crew must be ready for anything. On board, meals are quick, and nerves are tight. There's little time for rest or comfort. Every bite is taken with one ear tuned to the radio, every conversation hushed and serious. Some sailors find a moment to call home, their voices steady, but hearts heavy. "I'm okay." "Don't worry," they say, trying to reassure loved ones even as uncertainty hangs in the air. Others write in journals, recording the historic moment. They jot down their thoughts, the tension, the pride, and the hope that their actions will make a difference for their country. Above them, helicopters buzz, keeping watch from the sky. Their rotors beat a steady rhythm, a constant reminder that vigilance is needed from every angle, sea and air alike. As night falls, the ships form a tight circle, drawing closer together for safety. The darkness brings new challenges, but also a sense of unity. Each vessel relies on the others, trust forged by shared purpose. Bright searchlights sweep across the water, cutting through the blackness. Every glimmer on the waves is examined, every shadow investigated. The crew knows that vigilance is their best defense. Every sound, every shadow, could mean a new threat. The creak of the ship, the splash of a wave, or a distant engine, all are met with alert eyes and steady hands. Everyone knows this mission is serious. The fate of their fellow countrymen, and the sovereignty of their nation's waters, rests on their shoulders tonight. Philippine Defense Secretary Jose Faustino Jr. speaks to reporters. "We are here to protect our people, our territory, and our future," he says. His voice is steady. "This deployment is peaceful, but we will not back down." President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. adds, "We want dialogue. We want peace. But we have the right to defend our waters." He urges calm, but warns against provocation. In Beijing, the Chinese Foreign Ministry repeats its claims. "Bajo de Masinloc is Chinese territory," a spokesman says. "We urge the Philippines to withdraw their ships immediately." International observers also weigh in. The United States State Department issues a statement. "We support our ally, the Philippines, and the rules-based international order." The words are clear, but the future is uncertain. The risks are real. Chinese Coast Guard vessels often patrol near Bajo de Masinloc. Sometimes they block entry. Other times they use water cannons or loudspeakers to drive away Philippine boats. The meetings can become tense, fast. The Philippine ships are outnumbered and outgunned. China's vessels are bigger and newer. Their crews have more supplies and support. Still, the Filipino sailors press on, knowing what is at stake. There are other dangers too. The sea is unpredictable. Storms can roll in without warning. The shoal is surrounded by sharp reefs. One mistake can mean disaster for both ship and crew. Most of all, there is the risk of conflict. A wrong move, a misunderstood signal, could lead to a clash. Everyone on board knows this is not just a drill. Bajo de Masinloc is just one part of a much bigger problem. The South China Sea is a hotspot for disputes. China claims almost all the sea, drawing a so-called 9-dash line that covers areas claimed by Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, and the Philippines. This sea is important. In fact, about 1/3 of the world's shipping passes through it. Under the water, there may be oil and gas. The fish feed millions. Control of the sea means economic power and security. China has built artificial islands and military bases in the area. Other countries protest, but China stands firm. The United States, Japan, Australia, and others send ships to show support for freedom of navigation. The standoff at Bajo de Masinloc is just one sign of rising tension. No one wants a war, but no one wants to lose either. International law plays a big role here. When it comes to disputes over territory and maritime boundaries, international law is meant to provide a framework for peaceful resolution and clarity. It sets out the rules that countries are supposed to follow, especially when disagreements arise over who owns what in the world's oceans. In 2016, the Permanent Court of Arbitration in The Hague made a landmark decision. After years of legal arguments and evidence presented by both sides, The court ruled in favor of the Philippines in its case against China over the South China Sea. This was a significant moment in international law, as it addressed one of the most contentious maritime disputes in recent history. The court declared that China's so-called nine-dash line, which covers a vast area of the South China Sea, has no legal basis under international law. This line, drawn by China to claim almost the entire sea, was found to be inconsistent with the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS. The tribunal also ruled that Bajo de Masinloc, also known as Scarborough Shoal, falls within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone, or EEZ. This means the Philippines has special rights to resources and activities in these waters. However, China rejected the ruling outright, refusing to recognize the court's authority or its findings. Despite the international verdict, China continues to claim and patrol the shoal, maintaining its presence with Coast Guard and Navy vessels. The situation remains tense, with both sides asserting their claims on the ground, or rather at sea. The Philippines, on the other hand, stands firm on its rights under international law. Its leaders and officials regularly cite the court's decision, insisting that the country's sovereignty and maritime entitlements must be respected. Many countries around the world, including the United States, Japan, Australia, and members of the European Union, have expressed support for the court's decision. They urge all parties to respect international law and resolve disputes peacefully. But the reality is, there is no global police force to enforce these rulings. International courts can issue decisions, but they rely on countries to comply voluntarily. The United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS, is the main treaty that sets the rules for how countries use the world's oceans. It defines rights, responsibilities, and boundaries, aiming to prevent conflict and promote cooperation. According to UNCLOS, countries have special rights to the waters and resources up to 200 nautical miles from their coastlines. This area is called the Exclusive Economic Zone, or EEZ, and it's meant to give coastal nations control over fishing, mining, and other activities. For the Philippines, this means Bajo de Masinloc is well within its EEZ, and international law supports its claim to the area. The court's decision reinforced this, but enforcement remains a challenge. Ultimately, international rules are only as strong as the willingness of countries to follow them. Treaties and court decisions can clarify rights, but without cooperation, they can be ignored or challenged. For now, it falls to ships and sailors to defend what the law says should be theirs. The struggle continues on the waves, as nations balance legal rights with real-world power. The situation remains tense. Diplomats are working hard, calling for calm. Talks could bring a peaceful solution, or they could stall, leaving ships facing off in the sea. If the standoff gets worse, trade could be disrupted. Fishermen might lose their livelihood. Other countries in the region are watching closely. Will they take sides? Will they send their own ships? If peace wins, there could be new agreements on fishing, security, and sharing resources. If not, the risk of a clash grows. The world hopes leaders choose dialogue, not danger. Whatever happens, the eyes of Asia, and the world, are on Bajo de Masinloc. What happens here will shape the future of the region. The 7 ships at Bajo de Masinloc are more than steel and sailors. They are a symbol of a nation's hope and struggle. Every Filipino watching the news wants peace, safety, and respect for their country's rights. There is worry too. The risks are high, and the sea is unpredictable. But there is also hope. The world is watching. International law is clear. Many believe that dialogue is still possible. Leaders must be wise. They must avoid rash moves. At the same time, they must defend their people. The challenge is great, but the stakes are even greater. As the sun sets on Bajo de Masinloc, the story continues. The next chapter depends on courage, wisdom, and the will to find peace.